With the advent of the TikTok ban, a large number of TikTok refugees did not flock to alternative apps such as Instagram and YouTube Shorts as Americans expected, but instead flocked to China's Xiaohongshu, pushing Xiaohongshu to the top of the Apple Store. Many Americans were surprised to find that Musk's mother, May Musk, had a large number of fans on Xiaohongshu. It turned out that she had lived in Shanghai for a long time. This made American netizens very dissatisfied. They left messages one after another, asking her to send a message to Musk to persuade Trump to defend TikTok and fulfill his campaign promise. Trump, on the other hand, is full of business characteristics. He said he would decide after seeing the final result. Many Chinese netizens feel very honored. You see, Americans just like Chinese apps. Doesn't this just show that China is rising? So is this the fact? In this video, we will discuss the issue of TikTok refugees. In fact, in Trump's first term, it was he himself who launched a war against TikTok, accusing TikTok of endangering U.S. national security, promoting the TikTok ban, and offending a large number of young people. Biden did nothing and won young voters. In theory, Biden is the beneficiary of TikTok. But American politicians have always been like crossing the river and demolishing the bridge. Once elected, their campaign promises are like farts, dissipated with the wind. Biden not only did not thank TikTok, but also continued to promote the TikTok ban. Even after the Supreme Court ruled that the ban was invalid, the American hawks pushed Congress to amend the law and pushed the TikTok ban again in the name of national security, forcing TikTok to sell to American companies. Many American consortiums raised funds and prepared to take over TikTok, which was simply a global live robbery. If you think this is related to national security and ideology, then you are wrong. Americans not only do this to China, but also to their allies. After Alstom in France became bigger, the Americans were jealous and arrested Alstom CEO Frederick Pierucci and suppressed Alstom through administrative means, eventually forcing Alstom to sell its core business to General Electric in the United States at a low price. After being released, the unfortunate CEO wrote a famous book, The American Trap. The most important French companies were suppressed by the United States, and the French government dared not do anything except watching in the corner like a servant who made a mistake. Because they know the character of Americans very well, they speak softly but hold a big stick in their hands. France can pretend to be a world power in front of other countries, but in front of the United States, it is a humble servant. Being an enemy of the United States is dangerous, but being a friend of the United States is fatal. If you don't believe it, ask Denmark. Greenland is targeted by the United States. What else can Denmark do except to offer it? If you ask von der Leyen about the United States' rape of Denmark, she will say, "Oh, the rape of democracy is exciting. Europe needs to pay for freedom and democracy, not just slogans. Denmark is voluntary. We wish Uncle Sam and Denmark a wonderful night. I hope US can draw strength from it and defend the free world against the threat of Russian bandits." It is normal for Americans to use political means to attack large companies in other countries or even allies. For example, in the 1980s, most of the world's top 10 semiconductor companies were Japanese companies. But the United States completely defeated Japanese semiconductor companies such as Toshiba and NEC through the US-Japan Semiconductor Agreement, causing Japan to miss the outbreak of the Internet revolution. Now, facing Chinese companies, they attack Huawei on the grounds of endangering communication security. Attack TikTok on the grounds that TikTok has a large amount of American data, and attack DJI because DJI may transmit American map data back to China. In short, as long as they want, they can find any reason to sanction any foreign company. As long as American companies cannot win the competition, the other party threatens the national security of the United States. This gangster style is constantly flaunted by politicians such as Trump, who think it is a manifestation of the strength of the United States. I don't know if American presidents such as Washington, Lincoln, and Roosevelt will feel ashamed when they see the United States today. And those TikTok refugees are not innocent. It was they who used their votes to elect political scammers such as Biden and Trump, and they were constantly fooled by their empty checks. After discovering that they were deceived, they became hysterical and cried loudly. If you use your brain a little, you can understand why Musk, as the world's richest man, his mother chose Shanghai as her long-term residence. Why is Tesla's core factory in Shanghai? If China is really the hell on earth described by American politicians, full of oppression and may collapse at any time, will the world's richest man and his family choose China? Although you are not the social elite of the United States, you have the means to contain them, and you hold the votes. If TikTok is really important to you, then mobilize your friends around you. Remember these politicians who have persecuted TikTok, add them to the list, and make these politicians pay the price in the next election. In addition, you lack basic knowledge of the cruelty of this world. I think you will soon become a refugee of Xiaohongshu again. Because you only see that Musk has a large number of fans on Xiaohongshu and think that Xiaohongshu is China's Instagram. But you don't know that Xiaohongshu, like all other Chinese apps, must accept content censorship by the Chinese government. If you post anything that the Chinese government doesn't like on Xiaohongshu, your account will be banned. Do you know? The first country to ban TikTok was not the United States or India, but China. Although China has an app with the same icon as TikTok, it is called Douyin and is completely incompatible with TikTok. When ByteDance was developing TikTok, it took the initiative to prohibit Chinese users from accessing TikTok because they could not bear the strong censorship pressure from the Chinese government. Chinese netizens don't need to be proud of the influx of TikTok refugees into Xiaohongshu. What does it have to do with you? If American speeches that cross the red line become the norm, Xiaohongshu is likely to be removed from the platform. It's sad that Americans can't use TikTok, but you ASLO have to climb over the firewall to use TikTok. TikTok refugees, now is the time when TikTok needs you the most. Go fight, go to the streets to protest, and go to the Supreme Court to protest. If you fantasize about continuing the TikTok lifestyle by changing to a Chinese app, you are overthinking. Stupidity is the root cause of your loss of TikTok. The US government can ban TikTok, and it can also find reasons to ban Xiaohongshu at any time. If you can't change your mindset and fight for your legal rights, you will not only fail to keep TikTok, but your life in Xiaohongshu will also end at any time. If the American government you elected dares to trample on your rights wantonly, then you expect the Chinese government to protect your lifestyle. Are you kidding?